Taylor Swift's got a new album out.
Oh, thank God.
Thought you'd appreciate
The world
that.
is saved.
She's got her 12th studio album and she announced it on her boyfriend's, or is announcing it on her boyfriend's podcast.
She's still with the footballer?
Yeah,
dude? Yeah, okay.
she is.
Now, so I actually like some of Taylor Swift's music.
Yeah, some of it's all right.
I think she's lyrically clever. I think she's musically much more interesting than the vanilla pop music. I think she of the vanilla pop music genre, she is at the interesting end of it. I think she's done a good job of that. And I don't deny her talent. So all my criticism directed towards music before, again, I'm not saying these people aren't talented. They are. There is skill, there is technical skill, there is artistic skill. A lot of it ends up just feeling really, really same. But every album, to Taylor's credit, every album has a couple of songs that you go, okay, that doesn't feel like something I've heard before.
Do you know what's interesting is I did watch a really good deep dive into the music industry, and I agree with what you're saying, but I think there's a lot more nefarious industry stuff going on. So, I mean,
yes,
Michael Jackson and George Michael, Sony Music, for example, how they trap artists in contracts and make them put out what they want, not what the artist wants.
And explicitly, they trap artists, and Sony were notorious for this, trapping artists into contracts that were just not possible to fulfill.
Yes.
So they would have to deliver a certain number of new albums and new songs whilst also keeping up a certain touring schedule, whilst also keeping up X, Y, and Z. And it just wasn't possible. So they were designing contracts for the purpose of artists falling into breach.
Yes.
So that Sony could then just own everything.
Yes. And that was kind of what this YouTube clip was all about. But they were talking about how there's a lot of artists out there who wanted to put their material out there, but we never hear it because of these massive contracts. And so there's a lot of independent artists who are like, well, I can't take a contract on because it'll mean that you guys don't hear the music that I want. So I don't actually, like, I've got to stop falling into that trap of going, there's no good music, because I think there's lots of great music. It's just, it's not elevated the way it should. Being independent makes it a lot harder, particularly if you don't have the money behind it. Like, just an example, as an artist, well, as you know, my first exhibition, the bill for it is insane.
Yeah.
And so much so that I was like, I actually don't know if I can put this exhibition on. And it's cost prohibitive because I've got to rent a space and then I've got to actually manufacture the artwork itself, not just make it. I've got to print it out. I've got to frame it. I've got to promote it. I've got to do all this stuff. And so I did a really quick costing, and without even blinking an eye, it's almost at 20K. And whoa, okay, shit. Now, as I've said, like, for example, with my artwork, it's not necessarily commercial. So maybe some people like it, great. And if they buy it, I'd be stoked, by the way, please do. But that's not guaranteed. So, you know, I'm going to put $12,000 into making these 22 prints. I'm not necessarily going to sell all 22. Then what do I do with them? Do you know what I mean? So, and unfortunately, that's part of the degree. To get it, I have to have the exhibition. So I think it's the same with young musicians trying to get gigs, trying to get more attention on it. Spotify takes so much of their stream. They get paid cents for every stream. And I think I heard, I could be correct, like just massaging the numbers here, but for 1 billion streams, that only equals $1 million of revenue.
Right.
So someone like Coldplay, whose song's been heard 1 billion times, you've only made $1 million out of that.
Well, if I just do some quick numbers, so I make, let's call it $5,000 for 1 million views on YouTube. So then you multiply that by 1,000 to get to 1 billion views on YouTube. You would go to 5,000 times 1,000, you get to $5 million. All right. So, you know, and yes, okay, a YouTube video can't be compared to music. Okay, yeah, they're different mediums. They require different skill sets and different amounts of work and all the rest of it. But it's not a completely outrageous number. If I got 1 billion views on Facebook, if I put a video up on Facebook and I got 1 billion views there, I'd get a fraction of that amount of money. I'd get way less than $1 million.
That's the thing I've seen in our comments, actually, people going, oh, you know, YouTube takes all their money. And like, look, they do. They take 60%, but no other platform gives you any money.
Well, no
like
other
very
platform
minimal.
comes close. So I can tell you the numbers. So YouTube's system is really sophisticated. It's actually brilliant. And your ad space on your videos is being bid on in an automatic bidding process that goes on. So the amount of money you make varies depending on how much demand there is from advertisers and how well YouTube can segment your audience to target it to advertisers that know that they want to advertise to those kinds of people, all that stuff. But call it $5,000 per million views on YouTube. Now, you can make a living doing that. If you fight tooth and nail and you make really high quality content, you can get 50,000 views a day. Right? And you can do well. Right? But a million views on Facebook. Just hazard one guess. It's obviously less, but hazard one guess as to what a million impressions on Facebook would get you.
$20.
66.
Yeah, wow.
A million impressions on X, 33.
Yeah, wow.
Right now, these are my personal numbers that I've observed
And
based
it's
on my
five
revenue.
and a half on a million on YouTube.
Call it 5 on
Yeah.
average. Sometimes it'll be below, sometimes it'll be above.
Yeah.
1,000, right?
Yeah, wow.
So this is orders of magnitude apart.
Yeah.
There's no comparison. So I understand artists are frustrated, but also those platforms have given them access for people to essentially pay them a fraction of a cent at any moment of any day, anywhere in the world, via devices that the person paid for themselves. And
Yeah.
they've de-risked an enormous amount of the music business as well, in the sense that you don't have a lot of the overhead that there was with releasing CDs and releasing albums, and in that sort of physical media sense required enormous risk, which they didn't have the upfront money for, which is why they had to sign the contracts in the first place. The reality is, there's never been a better time to be an artist. The world has never been consuming more creative content.
Yeah.
And there have never been more ways to market than what there are. Now, take someone like myself. I would argue that I'm essentially in the creative space.
Yeah.
I'm in a very specific niche of the creative space, but I am a content creator.
Yep.
The only reason I'm able to make this work at any level at all is because I already have my books written and I can sell those. I've got merch and t-shirts.
Yep.
And I've got YouTube revenue. And then it was when I added the buy me a coffee button. And every day, a couple of people send me $10, $20, whatever.
Yeah.
And when you add that all up, you go, oh, this actually works now.
Yeah.
So I get an artist sitting there going, well, I spent all the money to make an album. I released the album online and I can't make it work. Well, I spent all the time writing the books. I've spent so much money making videos and losing money on all of that. I get it. But there is a critical mass. There is a point where if you're good and if you attract an audience, you can eventually piecemeal this all together and start to pay bills.
Yeah.
And generally what happens is the time delay from that moment in time where you get to that break even to the moment in time when you're doing really well is often quite short, measured in just a couple of years. Whereas the time to go from zero to that break even point is usually measured in decades.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the difference. I'm 16 years in. I've done the decade and a half of hard grind, losing money, spending money, all of that for a decade and a half with no guarantee that I'd ever get there.
Yeah.
And where I'm at right now, full disclosure, I'm actually able to pay bills right now. It's mind blowing. I'm doing this full time and it's paying my bills.
Yeah.
Sometimes only just, but it is.
Yeah.
And then I can look forward to saying, well, okay, if I just keep plodding down this road, fast forward another 2 years, 3 years, the blue sky potential is there. And that's the payoff. That's why we do the 15 years of grind and we spend all that money and all that time and we waste 15 years of our lives is for the dream that one day we'll get to that point and it'll all prove to have been worthwhile.
Yeah.
I hope I get there. There's no guarantee even from where I am. So I understand the complaint from a lot of artists, but the same technology that gives you access to the market at a level never seen before also gives all of your competitors access to the market at a level never seen before.
Yeah, and I'd also argue that there's always opportunity. It's just a lot of it comes down to how savvy you are. And even though there's people I don't necessarily like, I'll see them market themselves on social media and be like, that's bloody clever.
Yeah.
Bloody clever.
Oh, well, here you are again. Thank you so much for watching the Oddcast. You've just seen a clip from the wonderful Carly and myself. Am I wonderful? No, but Carly is. And between us, we make a good team. So head on over to the Oddcast HQ on YouTube and watch our full episodes over there. See you there.